Also, welcome to Tanks Invest, talk about investing, finance, and professional development. For today's terms only, the investment talk today will be Ethereum ticker ETH. So it's my second posting as of today. Respect to recording time of 3:22 p.m. on the Eastern time. Ethereum's currently trading $3,770, up about 0.30% so far. In addition to Ethereum being traded on a sideways fashion, in addition to that, on the stablecoin side of the world, Bitcoin is currently trading on a sideways fashion as well, down about 0.39%, while respectively all the altcoins are kind of trading on a sideways fashion as well. Besides Solana, it seems like it's surging again, up about 10.33%, trading at $126 at the current moment. So with respect to the sideways fashion activity that we're seeing across majorly in the crypto market and the equity market on Nasdaq's only up about 0.09%, SPY's up about 0.14%. The investors pool, based on the investment sentiments that we have on the media front and with the activities on the trading volume front as well, it seems like investors are definitely being cautious, anticipating for the large job report that's coming out tomorrow, which will have a either a positive correlations or negative correlations to obviously the quantitative tapering plan that the Federal Reserve or the Feds will have as their core mandates that Jerome Powell has talked about, right? And with that, that's how the Feds is going to be triangulating with respect to asset purchasing, or how they're going to be spending $120 billion on the bonds asset purchasing going forward, right? So something we have to keep an eye out on. And basically, with respect to a job report, if we miss tomorrow, we obviously going to have some selling pressure across the board. Anticipating that there will be some headwind with respect to the recovery for the economy going forward. Also, another side of the mixture that we also have to incorporate into our adjustments for the prediction is that the COVID variants news is still up in the air at the moment, right, with respect to the cases that are rising globally. But in the US state perspective, just within my current geography in New York, seems like the cases are spiking. So something we have to kind of keep an eye out on, and this is something we have to keep ourselves accountable for, and we don't want to be surprised what's going to be coming out going forward. I think the job report should show some gradual improvement in a technical perspective, knowing the fact that just based on my observations in New York City specifically, people are slowly going back to the office or working at the office instead of just working remotely. And I know before, used to have the cadence of people working like 3 times a week in the office, but it seems like just from my family and friends, it seems like people are working like 4 to 5 times a week in the office now, and mandatorily as well. So it should subsequently revive some job numbers in terms of the adjustments or the gradual progressions that we should be expecting going forward, right? But ultimately, it's going to be a binary outcome, and we do not know because we do not hold the statistics. We are not the one that data gather, and these data are still metamorphosizing. They oftentimes go through adjustments for the numbers that occurred in the previous months or so. So we will see how that adjustment will look like as well. So it will be both, in a retrospectively, but also in the current state. But with that, obviously, caveat of that adjustments going forward, right? So with respect to some of the news for Ethereum specifically, I've been collecting some news ever since lunchtime, and my day is relatively chill today. Just taking some time off from work, but I had like a couple morning meetings, but nothing crazy. With respect to some of the news, is more regurgitation news, I would say, right? With one on Fortune magazine about 2 hours ago, talk about Ether's price passing 4,000 in its latest rally. And I'm not sure what they mean specifically. I think they probably misspelled something. I think that the sentence should be, could the Ether price pass 4,000 in its latest rally, right? And I think technically, if we are going to continue to rally, the next level that we will leap up to technically on technical analysis would be $4,030. So that will be the next platform of substantiveness, right? That we have formed like 4 times if you look at the technical chart, right? However, if the bullish on more of a short-term perspective again of this wedge is gonna further progress, we will ideally hit all-time high way above all-time high actually to hit about $4,550, which will be the next level per the apex that we're seeing right now, and actually have the probability of actually go even higher. But because of this golden scoop that we have, and also with the golden cross that we're seeing right now. However, this whole thing is being net canceled out by the RSI because of the fact that we overbought at the level right now. And also we have to remind ourselves that the whales bought in at 2,450 and 2,750. So with this green surge, because of mainly public investors surging with the FOMO effects, a lot of emotions being in play right now, it's something we have to be cautious of, right? That we might, whatever goes up really, really fast comes down just as fast, right? And then other news that's talking about with respect to some of the activities that is cultivating among NFT commercialization again with respect to NFT collector. And the collector's name is Pranksy, tricked by a fake Banksy for almost 97.7 Ethereum coins. So it seems like this is another occurrence with respect to these fake Banksy transaction that's been cultivating. And I think this is the second one that we've here so far, and on the media front. And then some other news that's talked about with respect to on Bazinga and Decrypt, more just position news comparing Ethereum with respect to how it's trading compared to Bitcoin. And obviously Solana has been surging recently in the percentage perspective, how it's been surging so far. And also comparing with like Cardano, which as we know, it had reached $3 mark recently, right? So they're just basically comparing both a percentage growth in terms of adjusted perspective, but also with respect to the value proposition on a high level as well. So more just position news, and I think the verbiage is kind of neutral, not really, persuasive, leaning towards one side of the spectrum versus another. And then another one talking about with respect to Bitcoin rallies about $50,000 in a battle for a new all-time high and potentially beyond, right? So Bitcoin hit 50K recently. We saw, right, with respect to the entire market being dragged up by Bitcoin, which is one of the reasons why Ethereum was also being correlated to dragged up to be above the $3,836, which was the 2 days high, right? And we're normalizing from there because of the potential binary outcome that we have frankly have no idea what the job report's going to look like. It could be a hit or it could be a miss. And also with respect to the weekend affectation that's coming, the Labor Day weekend is going to be a 4-day consecutive days of holiday on top of a Jewish holiday that's coming up as well. And I'm looking at the calendar. It's basically durating from, I know some people are off tomorrow on Friday on the 3rd, and then so it's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then it's a Jewish holiday on Tuesday as well. And I think the Jewish holiday is actually going to durate until Wednesday and Thursday as well. So technically, for some people with their religious cadence, it's gonna durate for much longer time. So how would that affect the price sensitivity or the volatility that we'll be seeing for Ethereum? That's something we have to be cautious of, right? And again, just to remind us, knowing the fact that we've surged relatively significantly for over 65% so far ever since that B word summit on the 20th, when we were at the $1,710 level or the $1,700 level, we've surged up over $2,000 level so far. And technically, this is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 resistance levels that we broke through so far. With the majority of the level of surge coming from the whales, and then subsequently with a lot of investors just kind of trading on a sideways fashion, FOMOing into reaching us an all-time high, no, not all-time high, the recent high of 3,836. Right, so something we have to be mindful of. So with respect to the level that I will be buying at, knowing the fact that we do have a golden cross, however, being net canceled by the RSI, so it's kind of mixed signal right now. So for me, is it a good execution price point right now? I think for me, I'll just stay away at the moment. So just to recap on the cheat sheet, right? we are still at the complacency stage. We see that we are currently experiencing a last hurrah, and we know that with the last hurrah that I've talked about so far in the last 3 days, that we should see a surge before a dump, right? So it's always a pump and a dump, right? And the surge is basically to capture, the poor public investors into fear of missing out, right? And with that surge, which is oftentimes manipulated by a whale, just to kind of keep them in the trap and then subsequently dump them immediately after getting that big gains, right? So something that we have to be cautious of. The risk is definitely increasing, knowing the fact that this is a mixed signal that we're seeing, right? On top of the fact that this is a upward wedge, so we have to be cautious of, right? So in terms of like the entry price level, 3,000, 2,750, 2,450, even though it is still, I would say like 3-4 levels down from below, but I do have a relatively large position, so that's a level that I will be buying at, and I'm pretty sure that will actually come back into that oscillation level, because whatever goes up really really fast comes down just as fast, right? It took us how many days, right? It took us like a month to go up from 1,700 to all the way to almost 4,000, right? So remember that there's no expiration date for investing, you know? And the reason that people fear missing out is because they I don't know, in their mind they think that there's a deadline for a time, for a price point. But if you know that there's a market cycle that always happens, it always goes through that oscillation, right? It's never just gonna go up and away. But I think majority of investors think that it's gonna keep going up and away, right? So that's something we have to be cautious of. But if you want to buy now because you just want to get rid of that feeling, I get it, because ultimately I believe in the long term value proposition. That's why I invest in it, right? I'm a long term investor ultimately. So if you want to buy at the current level, that's totally acceptable. That's your risk tolerance. That's your risk aversion. Because long term wise, in the next 12 months, hitting above $10,000 or close to $10,000 wouldn't be surprising to me. And that would be 3.3 times your money if you buy the $3,000 level, right? So hopefully this is helpful. This is my second recording. Just to give you guys a heads up, I'm actually going to be flying out to San Francisco this coming up on this weekend. So I will be away from my computer. But I'll try to, maybe squeeze a video in the hotel. But there'll be a time zone difference because it's 3 hours difference. So I will see how I can incorporate that into my schedule. So we'll see. But really appreciate you for dropping by. I'll definitely keep an eye out on any news activities or any price volatility coming, and stay tuned for us to come up. Take care. Bye.